Now being recorded.
Yeah, screen is visible. Module 5 screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where were we yesterday? All these are done. Spherical general contact. Then inclusion origin we finished now. Foreign matter. This I think we finished. Geometric stress concentration. Peeling subcase. Yeah. Now we are into. So in the previous class, what we saw was the dynamic contact stresses. In that we went through inclusion origin, geometric stress concentration. So in geometric stress concentration, what will happen if there's a line contact? So to overcome the problem of the stress concentration, it is converted into a crowned roller, correct? Again at the edges there was a stress concentration. Again to overcome, it was a modified crown, was partial crown was made. Again there's going to be stress concentration a bit, even though the stress concentration gets reduced, okay? But at the changeover from straight to inclined portion, there was a stress concentration. Again, to overcome that problem also, they came out with one logarithmic curve type roller, okay? So where there is going to be a uniform stress distribution, which is much better than earlier cases, okay? Then after that, we learned about point surface origin, and then we learned about peeling. As I said, like a cabbage, if the surface gets peeled off because of oxidation, then subcase fatigue is about so weaker, softer and weaker core material because of improper surface hardness. Okay, so that's what subcase fatigue is all about. And now we'll learn about surface fatigue strength. Okay, so steel and few other materials loaded in bending show an endurance limit. So this we have learned what is endurance limit is sigma minus 1 is the endurance limit. So that we learned how we are going to get. Then we should expect that our machine, though carefully designed to be safe against all forms of failure and eventually succumb to surface fatigue if so loaded for enough cycles. That is, even though we design the components or a machine, okay, so that the induced stress is always less than the yield stress of the material, but the failure is going to occur because of surface fatigue, okay? So that is surface fatigue is the crack that is generated on the surface of a component. Again, why this happens is because poor surface finish on the surface, okay, of the component will lead to crack nucleation and crack propagation. And also, it is difficult to accurately predict the condition of stress at an expected point of failure in a contact zone. So that's what finally is all about. We cannot predict all the types of failures, and also accurately we cannot predict at what point the crack may nucleate and propagate. We only say that we identify some stress concentration zones and then try to remove those stress concentration zones and make it more and more safer. Now, to overcome this dilemma, okay, contact zone stress as reference value may be taken and compared with the material strength. So, the reported surface fatigue strength has only indirect relationship to the actual stresses that may have been present in the test case. So, Archian stress equations are only valid for static loading. That is, essentially, we are going to have a reference value, okay, and to compare it with material strength, okay. So that is what we are going to solve to roughly identify and come out with the failure or predict this failure more accurately. That is, we are going to have a contact zone stress as reference value we are going to take, and try to accurately predict the type of failure and point of failure. That's what we are trying to do in surface fatigue strength. Okay, then how it can be done is by a factor called the experimental load factor K. So this is used to determine the safe endurance load F at a specified number of cycles, or the number of cycles that can be expected before failure occurs at a given load, right? So that means this experimental load factor will give us the number of cycles that can be expected before failure occurs at a given load. Is that okay? So what we learned here is we cannot accurately predict the condition of stress at an expected point of failure in a contact zone. So that is, we cannot accurately predict. And to overcome this problem, what we are going to have is we are going to have contact zone stress as reference value will be taken. Okay, and then here we are going to take for the normal compressive static stress in a cylindrical contact. We can have a factor called K, which is called experimental load factor, which is essentially used, or it will give us the number of cycles that can be expected before failure occurs at a given load. Okay, how I'm going to find the value of K is by taking the sigma z value is equal to minus P max. This we have learned already, especially for cylindrical contact. Okay, it is essentially for a cylindrical contact. So it is given by 2F by pi into A into L. This we have taken volume of the semi prism or something. Just go back and check. Then we have got contact patch A is equal to root of 2 by pi m1 plus m2 by b into F by L. So m1 and m2 are what? M1 and m2 are? What are m1 and m2? M1 and M2, we have learnt M1 and M2, 1 minus nu1 square by E1, and M2 is 1 minus nu2 square by E2. Correct? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So M1 and M2 are what? Please flip your notes and check what they are. Did you check? Because we have solved so many number of problems, we have taken it so many times. I have told some 15-20 times. What are M1 and M2? Take out a notebook and check what M1 and M2 is. In the very beginning, we have taken when we learned about.
So 1 minus, sir?
1 minus nu1 square by E1.
E1.
Correct. M2 is?
1 minus mu2 square by E2.
What M1 and M2 are called?
Material constants.
Excellent. Okay. M1 and M2 are material constants. And B is the geometry constant. Correct? And F is the load and L is length of contact. So squaring both sides, okay, we are going to get sigma z square is equal to, so this root is removed, so we are going to get the equation for sigma z square, and then simplify, we are going to arrive at F is equal to, so this sigma z square, okay, pi into L, I mean pi into M1 and M2, M1 plus M2, okay, are taken out and replaced by another constant, because M1 and M2 are constants because it depends on ratio, Poisson's ratio and Young's modulus. Sigma z we have found out, and pi is a constant. We are replacing that by another constant called k. This factor k is called experimental load factor. So from this we can find out the number of cycles that can be expected before failure occurs at a given load. That is, at this given load of f, we can get number of cycles that can be expected before failure. Okay, so please note down this derivation and note down the description on the right hand side. That is, note down number of this much, you note down, and note down the heading, the expression for normal compressive axial static stress in cylindrical contact. So sometimes they may ask you ask for derivation of this. So please note down the derivation clearly. Okay. K is the experimental load factor. Is it visible? Whatever that I have written by hand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Note down the heading and note down the derivation. Determine the safe endurance load F at a specified number of cycles. Note down the derivation completely. Note down this derivation and also the description. Okay, here. Complete description.
Okay.
Finished, huh? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Finished, huh?
Yes, sir.
Finished?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll increase the volume. Okay. Finished, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, we'll come to the end of module 5. Okay. So far, we'll just recap what we learned in the entire module. Okay, now? Is that okay? This will go through
Yes, sir.
what we have learned
Yes, sir.
so far in the entire module. So in the entire module, what we started was with reference to where, okay, and then what is where and examples we took, characteristics of engineering system which depend on so and so. So where is the characteristics, okay? So what we learned is where is a characteristic which depends upon load, speed, temperature, hardness, surface finish, presence of foreign materials, and environmental conditions. Then we learned about the basic definition. So what will happen during wearing of materials, that is transfer of materials from element 1 to element 2 will happen. And the aspects should be considered in classification of wear are type of relative motion, interacting elements, what are they, principal wear mechanism, then what is the normal load, coefficient of friction, metal properties, wear rate, and appearance of wear surface. This is what. And then classification of wear was abrasive wear, adhesive wear, corrosion, surface fatigue, and tribochemical wear mechanism. So in abrasive wear occurs when rough hard surface slides against a softer one. Okay, so this results in series of grooves or stray fragments, right? The material will come out like fragments. So this is what we learned in case of abrasive wear, and then abrasive wear is subdivided into category 1 and category 2. Under category 1, we had 2-body abrasion and 3-body abrasion. Category 2, we have gouging, grinding, and erosion abrasion. So in 2-body abrasion is like ore in ore handling plant or metal finishing by files. This is very important. So you have a softer job material and a very harder file. So metal finishing by files is under 2-body abrasion. 3-body abrasion results in high stresses when the particles are reduced in size, as in ore crushing plant. Okay, and it may also occur because of entrance of foreign particles or third body. So therefore, it is called 3-body wear. Then we learned about a gouging abrasion caused by impact. Okay, mainly, and results in micro deformation of the surface. Right, and then grinding abrasion is essentially occurs when two surfaces are rubbed together with force to crush abrasive particles. So especially this is about grinding machine operation or grinding wheel operation, which is used for removing the smoothening the surface. Okay, and then erosion abrasion. So erosion abrasion, cause of erosion wear is again impact. The abrasive particle wear may be suspended or carried in fluid, okay, such as air or water. This type of wear is found in sand chute. So hardness, so wear depends upon hardness of abrasive and hardness of metal, right? So this is about abrasive wear. Then comes adhesive wear, which occurs when surfaces slide against each other and pressure between the contacting asperities is high to cause local plastic deformation and adhesion, essentially welding. So local asperities, we learned that is microscopic undulations that are present on the surface of even the smoothest surface visible for naked eye. You will have what are called as asperities. Okay, that is imperfections on the surface. So because of them, the local plastic deformation occurs and then welding of parts takes place. This is called adhesive wear. Okay, so this causes metal transfers from one surface to another surface. Next, we learned about again adhesive wear, what size it can be used. Surface fatigue wear occurs when cyclic contact loads are applied at relatively mild stress. Okay, this is common in rolling contact, that is in bearings, especially rolling contact and rolling contact bearings. It can be either ball bearings or roller bearings. Mostly it is for rolling elements or roller bearings. Then we learned about spherical contact when you have two cylinders, moving against each other. So we learned about contact patch, material constants M1 and M2, geometric constants B and B, which depends upon radii of these two cylinders, these two spheres. So R2 becomes 0 when you have the flat surface or infinitely long surface. And we learned and we solved few problems based on spherical contact. Mithun, you asked no problems in this module. So definitely you will have a problem in contacts, either spherical contact or cylindrical contact. Okay.
Okay.
So we have taken up this. And then coming to cylindrical contact, so we have two cylinders which are pressed against each other. And then we got at the point of contact, we'll have maximum pressure occurring. We have a small derivation over there based on the previous one, and then again we have solved few problems on cylindrical contact. So please keep this derivation also in mind. Okay, the small derivations also you practice. Okay, and also the problems. You may get either derivation or a problem. Mostly it is problems, and we solve few problems. Okay, on cylindrical contact as well. Then we moved on to general contact. Again, a small derivation in general contact we did, and I did not find problems in question papers on general contact. Okay, that's why I did not take. And dynamic contact stresses, we learned about surface fatigue failure models. So for 5 different modes of failures in rolling contact are inclusion origin, geometric stress concentration, point surface origin, superficial pitting, and subcase fatigue. So in that, Inclusion origin is nothing but inclusion of foreign matter, which are usually oxides of the material that are formed during processing. Okay, so and then we learned about geometric stress concentration. Definitely we'll have a question on geometric stress concentration. So crown, partially crown, logarithmic curve, and so on. Then we learned about point surface. Then we learned about peeling, subcase fatigue, and surface fatigue strength. Again, little bit of repetition. Only thing is you should know that the experimental load factor K is used to determine the safe endurance load. Okay, from this equation, it will give us the number of cycles that can be expected before a failure occurs at a given load. Is that okay? This is the entire gist of module. Which module?
5.
5. Okay. So problems are also there, derivation and problems all are there, description are also there. So what we learned in general into, and you will definitely have a question on abrasive, adhesive, erosion, corrosion, erosion wear and these things. Okay. So definitely you have got um, question. In all the question papers, you will have these description of adhesion, adhesive wear, abrasive wear, and corrosion wear. And you normally will have a problem on cylindrical or spherical contact. Very rarely about derivation. So we learnt about introduction, surface geometry, mating surface, friction, adhesive wear, abrasive, corrosion, dynamic contact stresses, and surface fatigue strength. So these are the topics that are there in the module 5. And if you want further input into this, so refer textbook Norton. Is that okay? Fine.
Yes, sir.
So we'll a bit look at, I just wanted to show, just wait, question paper from university. Are you able to see the Word document here? What you are seeing in your screen?
PPT, sir. Module 5.
Module 5.
Huh?
Module 5 PPT, sir.
Module 5 PPT you are watching. Wait, I wanted this word to be taken. Should I go for present again?
Yes, sir.
Where to go? Okay, I've taken it here. How to? It's coming only stop presenting. How do I take the second window? What you are seeing now?
Module 4, sir.
Oh, it has come. Module 4 has come. No. Okay. So now how to take this fellow Word? Now are you getting Word there? Word document or module 4 only?
PPT,
Module
sir.
4.
Module 4 PPT.
Module 4, then why this is not getting displayed? Anyway, just let me do this once again. Module 3. Module 3. Okay. Control C. Okay. You are watching what I am doing here, what you are seeing there.
Empty slide, sir.
Empty slide, whatever I am pasting, you are able to see.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I am on track. Okay. Are you able to see what I have posted here? What you are seeing there on the screen?
Module 1. Sir.
Module 1, okay. So these are all the questions in module 1 that I have extracted from some 6 or 8 question papers, right? Okay. And these are all bit repetitive in nature. So discuss the role of failure prevention in mechanical design. Discuss the following design criteria with examples. Okay. Computer controlled closed loop fatigue testing machine. This also we have done. Even and uneven materials. You remember all these things? Words? Even and uneven materials. More circle. Do you
Yes, sir.
remember? Okay. Then what do you mean
Yes,
by
sir.
synergistic failure mode? That is combination of temperature and stress. So that's what we learned already. So direct stress fatigue testing machine, failure mode and least commonly observed modes of mechanical failure. So that you need to do. Then define fatigue failure, mechanism of failure, 3 different fatigue failure models. Okay. Note on fatigue test specimens. So this also we have learned. We have learned about fretting. We learned about testing machines, bending machine with the cantilever type of beam, mechanical failure, and explain 4 important modes of failure. That is temperature, cycle stress, and all those things we learned. No. Then phenomenon of fatigue failure. So in module 2, these are all the common questions that are there in all the question papers, especially this explain the effect of the following in on SN behavior. No, this question is almost there in every question paper. Okay, that is microstructure surface finish is there in every question paper. And are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And the effect of mean stress on fatigue life of materials. This is also very repetitive. And another I saw is monotonic cyclic stress strain curve for AL2024T4 This we have taken already. So that's also a bit repetitive question. Okay. And this one, explain the strain life fatigue, strain life called transition fatigue life. You remember the transition point where both elastic and plastic strains will have constant life. Okay. So that if you remember that graph that we have taken, so you will be able to understand. Okay. And next is in module 3. Okay. What happened? Okay. In module 3, so modes of failure we have taken, no, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. So that is there. And this one, explain the following: fracture toughness, intensity factor, modes of crack displacement, limitations of LEFM. So this as it is heading we have taken, we have learned that. And mean stress effects is bit repetitive. Haig diagram that we have taken in the previous classes. So again, what do you mean by plane strain, fracture toughness, all these things? These are all, and for module 4 and 5, I have not yet done this. So this I'll do and share with you later. Is that okay? Are you there?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So next we'll just start with the module 4. and then continue tomorrow. So in module 4, I have taken totally from Stephens, page number 270 to 291. Okay. So this is what complete chapter is from Stephens' book. Okay. So because Norton is not so comfortable with for this chapter. So what we need to learn from here is we need to learn about spectrum loads and cumulative damage, then damage quantification, quantifying of the damage and concepts of damage fraction and accumulation, then cumulative damage theories, load interaction and sequence effects, cycle counting methods. So definitely here in cycle counting methods, you have various methods like rainflow counting, then peak counting method, and so on. That is when you come back to that, I just take you through before, yeah. So here you have got various cycle counting methods, right? So rainflow method, range pair, racetrack counting method, peak counting method, and level crossing method. Most of the time, in all question papers, you will have this rainflow method of cycle counting. Okay, so rainflow, and sometimes I have seen even the peak counting method also in some of the question papers, right? So that we need to learn a bit. And life estimation using stress life approach, then notch strain analysis, Newber's and Glinka's rule, application of fracture mechanics to crack growth at notches. This we have studied a bit earlier also. Again, it has come here. So these are the things that we need to learn in module 4. Is that okay? Now what you do is note down these the textbook page numbers from what to what, and note down the topics that need to be covered. Please note down into your notebook. And underline that cycle counting methods. Okay. There's a problem. There's a question every time on rainflow counting method. The title of the module is fatigue from variable amplitude. So please underline variable amplitude. That is, amplitude will keep varying. It will not be constant amplitude loading. Okay. So effect of variable amplitude on fatigue. So this is what the gist of the chapter is. Did you finish noting down? Finished done? Not done, not done. Finished, huh? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So coming to this introduction of module 4. So as I said, it is the fatigue from variable amplitude loading. Okay, that is so far we learned about amplitude being constant, maybe by default. So this is the curve. So far effect of variable amplitudes. Okay, different amplitudes in load cycle and its effect on fatigue life of the components is what we need to study here. So when we say the variable amplitude, so what is variable amplitude is when loading and unloading do not occur in constant amplitude cycles, but in a variable amplitude manner. The cumulative effect of these events may also produce fatigue failure. That is, during loading, the amplitude may be there, and during unloading, the amplitude may be less, and again more amplitude, and then less amplitude during unloading. Like this, if the components are subjected to variable loading, this may also produce fatigue failure. Sometimes the amplitude will be so high that resonance will be achieved, and then the component will fail because of resonance. So that is what that's how it will contribute for fatigue failure. The term cumulative damage refers to fatigue effects of loading events other than constant amplitude cycles. So the term spectrum, okay, is used in fatigue literature, means a series of fatigue loading events other than uniformly repeated cycles. See, it is not uniformly repeated like come down, come up, come down. It is not uniform. So it may be high there, it may be low there, it may be low there, and it may be high over there. So like that, if it is subjected to variable amplitude, so this is amplitude, that is from mean, the maximum height of the curve is called what is the amplitude. Okay, so here the amplitude less, and here suddenly the amplitude of loading is more. So when the components are subjected to such variable amplitudes, the fatigue failure may occur. So normally, if you look at the sketch over here, okay, so this will give you, say suppose here he has taken the example of load on aircraft or a tractor shovel are not subjected to constant amplitude loading. But normally, even if you take a lathe machine or a drilling machine, and if you place accelerometers near the spindle of a lathe machine, okay, and if you extract the vibration, it will be something like this. Okay, and when you explode it, this is what you that is exploding in the sense, if you take on a larger scale, if you see here the amplitude of vibration is so varying, and again it is less here, again it will go up. That is, he has taken this amplitude, so that is this service load, whatever that he has shown, he has taken the exploded view of that spectrum over here. So where if you see here, you have maximum amplitude here, and minimum amplitude here. Correct? So like that, if you explore this, you will get so many such cycles like this, wherein the component is subjected to variable amplitude loading. And how does that affect fatigue loading is what we are going to understand. Are you there? All the components, it can be aircraft wing, or it can be a tractor shovel, or it can be a lathe machine, or it can be a drilling machine, milling machine, CNC lathe, whatever, they are all subjected to a spectrum of fatigue loading where the amplitude of vibration will vary. Sometimes it will be maximum, sometimes it will be minimum. So the amplitude of vibration is not constant like something like this, but it's going to be variable amplitude, something like this. Is that okay? So what will happen to fatigue failure in under such circumstance is what we are going to learn in module 4, wherein fatigue of, okay, fatigue from variable amplitude loading. Are you there? Could you get the introduction part clearly?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay. You have studied vibrations now in your undergraduation.
Yes, sir.
I think your batch has studied mechanical vibrations in science semester, correct? So there, if you have studied signal monitoring, signal conditioning of machines, have you studied that chapter? See, module 5. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so condition monitoring of machines, there if you see, you will get all these things over there. Okay. Anyway, okay. Tomorrow we'll go through module 4, and maybe today, if possible, I'll send you the notes for what modules 3 and 5. No, so I'll send it through your mails. So some 4 mails I have got. Share with other 3. Okay, now.
Okay, sir.
Okay then. Okay. Bye. So have a good day. We'll see tomorrow for module 4. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.